typecast and generally hire a certain type of wimpy, pot-bellied type, you know, who looks like Pat from Saturday Night Live. You can't tell if it's male or female. And I care about these people. I want to lift them up. They'd make good little farmers or good little artisans or whatever, you know, if they were just given something other than TV growing up. But instead, they want a petty power trip like the woman they were stripping down, the man they pulled his pants down and were asking about his colostomy bag and yelling at him. And he said, look, you pulled my pants down. And the TSA said, I have power. I have power. I have power. Yeah, you got the power, all right. The government is so scientific. They've got psych warfare chiefs. They give them psychological tests, and they hire these maybe 75, 80 IQ people who just like to run around in a uniform. They're killing them right there. And now they've been killing them, and now they're going to move in the high-powered microwaves and fry everybody. And you're like, well, I just won't fly. They're announcing they've already purchased big, giant mobile trucks. Highway checkpoints have begun. And you try to not let them march your kid in. The cops flip out, taser you, CPS your kid. I mean, it's just psycho land. And the cops are standing out getting fried and loving it. I mean, woo! I mean, it's just like maniac crazy. And these little chicken neck foreign bankers run everything and are openly setting up world government. And I'll tell you what freaked me out. You know, I did this Slate magazine interview, and you know, I don't do a lot of these 9/11 interviews because it would take all my time up, and I didn't do one for a big author at the National Post, and I say no to a lot of these. And he's written like a 3-part series already, and I did scan over most of the parts last night, and it was every cliche about conspiracy theorists. And I knew the articles would end with 9/11 truth is declining and dying. I told him, I said, when he called, I said, the latest talking point is 9/11 truth is dying and declining. He's like, well, how did you know that? Yeah, this is what it, of course. That's what your editor told you to write about, dumb bunny. You don't get the talking points, little man. Your bosses do. I know the talking points because I've already had a bunch of them call. I know what the talking point is. I mean, it's talking points. I live in a world where a bunch of scum hand down talking points, and then these mercenaries. I mean, who knows? This guy, I bet, got paid $2,000, $3,000 to write this 5-part series. 3 parts are out with every cliche, I mean, a lobotomized chimpanzee could have written it, and I gave him historical proof, total evidence, facts, and none of it's in there. It's just every cliche, every joke, every piece of garbage. And, I'm not the founder of the 9/11 Truth Movement. David Ray Griffin is, who went public in 2003. I could care less who the father of the 9/11 Truth Movement is. People ask who started it. Everybody knows I obsess on false flag terror. I've been covering that since 1996. I got on air in late 95 to expose government-sponsored terror. Oklahoma City. That's what and I don't care that I was obsessing on it, and then some other UFO-type host a few months before 9/11 started getting out of that and covering what I was covering because they saw it was popular. Great, good. More the merrier. Let's defeat the globalist. But the point is, I'm the guy. Okay? I don't talk about holograms and videotapes of Jesus being sacrificed and floating submarines. And I don't talk about all that stuff. Fine, talk about it if you want to. The issue is I went on air. I said call the White House. They're going to blow up the World Trade Center and blame it on bin Laden. And the guy kept saying, you're not the founder on the phone. I was like, well, I don't really care. But if you're asking who the progenitor is, it's me. I mean, if you want to ask, you know, Wright brothers, Kitty Hawk, you know, you can say that, you know, the first aircraft came out in 2011. Okay, I mean, I guess so. But it says, Alex Jones is not the grandfather of 9/11 Truth Movement. That's David Ray Griffin in 2003. And it's all about false reality. Well, I mean, wait a minute. I'm not the founder or the grandfather of 9/11 Truth Movement. A guy that came out 2 years after I did is. Okay. All righty then. See, that'd be like saying Elvis. Well, he's not even as big as Elvis in the 9/11 Truth Movement. The way the media looks at it is like celebrities. I don't look at it like that, but that's the way the article's written, or one of the 3 articles, again, 2 more coming out, is it was written where it basically says Alex claims he's Elvis, but David Ray Griffin is Elvis. Well, no, Griffin came so late, he'd be more like in the history of rock and roll. maybe Metallica or something, 1989, 1987. I mean, I would be Little Richard, who you could say was one of the founders of rock and roll. See, in 9/11, I would be Little Richard and not Elvis. See, so basically, they're saying, I'm the king of 9/11 truth. No, I'm not Elvis. I'm the Little Richard of 9/11 truth. See, I come first. Understand that. Not David Ray Griffin, who's Metallica. See, rock and roll didn't start in 1987. Started back in the 40s. Elvis became the king by popularizing it. But again, I don't even get into this or talk about it. It's like the article obsesses over this. Oh, my gosh. And okay, I said I'd take calls. Oh, boy. And listen, I want to quantify 9/11 truth down to something very simple for all of you that are emotionally invested in the fairy tale you've been told that's been proven to be a lie. The official story, if you go research it, even 6 of the 10 Commandments have said, is a fairy tale, is a criminal lie. Okay, let's just start there. And let's finish with this, just to hope you look into it with an open mind. You've seen now even Chuck Norris saying, why is our government putting al-Qaeda in Libya? Why are they protecting Anwar al-Awlaki? What's he doing at the Pentagon? There, now you're starting to come into reality. They think you're so dumb, they've got al-Qaeda running all around on U.S. government payment right now. The elephant in the room. The whale in the room. Wake up, okay? Just start there. Why? Okay, bin Laden was admitted CIA. That's admitted. Let's start there. Don't say it's crazy to say we should investigate this and ridiculous and preposterous when the cops will have an investigation of a hit-and-run accident out on the highway with 20 cops out there investigating it. Don't say, oh, it's crazy to look into this when governments have done stuff like this, including ours, over and over again. But let's just end it with this. It isn't our government that did 9/11. The government is compartmentalized like a labyrinth out of Einstein's mind. It is a labyrinthine system. It is corporate shadow networks, when you study it deeply, that ran the attacks. The same groups openly financing al-Qaeda today. Bottom line, the hijackers were given passports to come back into the U.S. and protect it. That's come out. They were at bases. They were living in houses paid for by the FBI. This is all mainstream news. And never, in not one of these hit pieces, will they ever address any of our questions. They go through the same laundry list of disinformation. And so understand, this is real. Look at all the other criminal activities the government's involved in, the gun running to Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. These people are dangerous. It's not fun to go up against them. But we have no future if we don't. Okay, everybody, I appreciate you holding. Eric in Missouri, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for taking my call. First, I'd like to thank you for warming up the audience on the whole 9/11 truth thing. I want to tell you, I'm 19 years old, and I am studying firefighting in school. Now, the other day, they told us that steel melts at 1,000 degrees. They told us that steel melts at 1,000 degrees, and structures that are made out of steel will become unstable at 1,000 degrees.
Yeah, let me stop you. In all the firefighting books and the underwriting laboratories, this has come out in the last 5 years, they're changing insurance now for buildings to collapse. Never happened, but 3 times on that day. Big fires all the time, last for weeks, nothing collapses. They're now changing it, and yes, saying buildings will melt at 1,000 degrees or will fall down, the big modern steel buildings. And it's changing all of engineering. See, they're having to go with these fake physics. So, yes, it's changing everything. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, it absolutely infuriated me. And the moment that he said that, my fists were clenching. I was sweating.
Well, what you do is you bring in the old manuals and old textbooks and say, when did this change? But, they now say a brick lighter will burn down the most powerfully built building that previously wouldn't fall. I mean, now, of course, none of them have fallen since, but it's just the false reality. I know. We have to now believe whatever we're told. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And the thing is, that it doesn't only just change the science of it. The job of a fireman is to protect lives and property. So say we got a skyscraper that's on fire, and it's real bad, and there's there's propane or something in one of the kitchens, and it blows up, and some's heated up to 1,000 degrees. That means that the structure is unstable, and the guys in charge of incident command will get everybody out. All the firefighters, they'll call them on a retreat, and we will ignore the damage on the property, and we will ignore the lives in the building because of the 1,000-degree law. And that is actually in the NFPA 1500, the National Fire Protection Agency. No,
I know. They've announced the insurance has gone up because before they said steel didn't start weakening and getting more pliable till 2000, didn't start melting even with the lower quality steel till around 3,000 or more. But magically now, I know, they say 1,000 degrees, buildings will fall, just free fall, perfectly, with blast points coming out the sides.
Just want to inform you on the disinformation they're teaching firefighters now.
Well, I mean, wait a minute. A gas-powered grill can get up to 1,000, so I guess it's all going to collapse, the whole thing free fall? Because you have a little fire at the top, the whole thing's just going to fall on the ground?
Gosh,
What about in a fireplace, the metal grate? Is it going to... Because, the fire's only in one spot. Is the whole fireplace going to collapse down, too?
Obviously not.
But so they've told you there's a new law, see? That'd be like if they said planes could only fly 100 miles an hour now. There's a new magic barrier. People would say, well, planes never flew past 100 miles an hour. Government said so.
Well, I just got to say thank God for people like you and David Ray Griffith and the firefighters for 911truth.org.
Did anybody else there at the event, did anybody else come out and, get concerned, or everybody said, oh, 1,000 degrees, buildings fall? I mean, did they all buy it? Like, oh, okay.
They all just highlighted it in their books and just took the notes and just moved on. But I was sitting there, and I was thinking all of these things, all the lectures that are on YouTube of David Ray Griffith explaining and breaking it down. It was all going through my mind, and I wanted to say something, but he's my instructor. And, if I say something like 9/11 truth or 9/11 was an inside job or what happened to Building 7, that would be a real big red flag. And it was just a mess.
I hear you, my friends. And by the way, I said Little Richard, the real father of rock and roll, a lot of people say is what, Chuck Berry. And, of course, isn't it Chuck Berry? I'm having one of those addled moments. Doesn't he have the... Lemmy from Motorhead says it's Little Richard. I know that can be debated. No, but I'd have to say it's Chuck Berry with his Johnny Be Good. Live a little boy. Hey, we ought to come back in with Johnny Be Good and maybe do 5 minutes overdrive so I get to the calls. Folks, it's freaking me out. I mean, I just... It's so insane to live in this world of delusion. All right, well, more of your calls straight ahead. We'll be live tonight, 7 o'clock, special report. InfoWars Nightly News, PrisonPlanet.tv, InfoWarsNews.com, InfoWarsNews.com.
Introducing a diabetes breakthrough, an easy, natural, organic way to bring relief to diabetics. Introducing MDS Forte, a concentrated super-strength extract formulated for those who are looking for quick action. Listen to what the revolutionary MDS Forte can do for you. MDS Forte reduces glucose levels safely and effectively, reduces cholesterol and triglyceride